Hi everyone, welcome on board to P0V.
The Bible is now the greatest instrument in creating false industries in the continent of Africa. And that is not to be celebrated. It is to be frowned upon. And we who claim to be Christians, and I normally use this very deliberately, we claim to be Christians. As to whether we are is another debate. We'll only discover that a little later when we are in heaven. And therefore, when we talk about rediscovering, we are saying that it was once discovered. But let us situate the Bible in its proper place. Christianity as we know it today in the continent of Africa was midwifed to us in the continent through Europe, through the missionaries. When they came, they were reading the very same Bible that we are reading today. When they sat in Berlin and were dividing the continent of Africa, they were reading the same Bible that we are reading today. The same Bible in which in Paul's letter to the Galatians at chapter 3:28, he says, there are no Jews, no Gentiles, no slave, no free, no woman, no man. They read that verse. It was not interpolated later after they came. They read it. But they came here and conquered us. They came here and discriminated against us. The same Bible. They were being mentored by that very same Bible. They came here when they had divided the body of Christ. The English had appropriated the religion in 1534, and they now had their Anglican church complete with the monarch as its head. The Scots had appropriated their own, and they had the Presbyterian church. The Greeks had their Greek Orthodox. The Armenians, the Armenian Orthodox. The Roman Catholics were even bolder. They called it the Roman Catholic Church. So that even when they are in Uganda, it's not Ugandan Catholic Church, it is the Roman Catholic Church. And you are going there and you are saying you are Roman Catholic Church. In apartheid South Africa, they are the Dutch Reformed Church, which became the foundation stone upon which apartheid was articulated in 1948 by Hendrik Verwoerd and his cohorts. So the Bible has been misused. Don't be cheated. Let's not be nice to each other because we are Christians. The Bible has been misused. It has been used to support slavery. It has been used to support colonization. It has been used to pervert the truth. That is the Bible that we are saying we ought to rediscover. So when we are gathered here as Christians and we are talking about rediscovery of mentorship in the Bible, we must have a spirit that is a questioning spirit.
Eloquent Professor Lumumba is a man known to hit the hammer right on the nail. He doesn't play around with words. He has said it clearly. And the truth of what we have on our hands right now is what he has just posited. Now, let us look at religion, Christianity, and of course, Islam also. Now, let us focus on the Christian aspect for now. I do understand, and I hope you agree with me, that good things can be manipulated by evil people. Yes, that is the truth. And of course, this is debatable. The introduction of the kind of Christianity the West brought in is for exploitation. That does not mean that it could not have been manipulated for their own end. Could it be that after the partial exit of the West, after their looting, after their criminal activities on the continent of Africa, in Africa, could it be that our collective consciousness permitted, allowed ourselves to be robbed by ourselves? A lot of people will say, let the church or let the religious organization do what they do, whilst government do what they are supposed to do. Now, the criminal activities of government in Africa has resulted into this imbalance where a lot of people tend or shift to the church, hoping to find succor, hoping to find rest. But unfortunately, some of them are being ripped off again. African pastors, particularly the charismatic prophets, they will often brag, saying that God has deposited gifts, power in Africa, and that the West are lacking in this. But when you compare these two nations, you will realize that there are a lot of people in Africa praying for visa to come over to that country where their pastors have said they lack in the aspect of spirituality, or is it religion? Why has religion not done enough for Africa? Why has this, in quote, charismatic practices, movement, why has it not done enough for Africa? There is a balance that has not been met yet. When you look at Europe, there was a time they were very religious too. The Roman Catholics, the Anglican, Presbyterian, Orthodox, and the rest of them, they had so much hold on the minds of their people. And after a while, people started getting out of that and they embrace more of industrial, scientific, and all of those exploits. Now, that is not to say none of these things existed back then. There were people who were doing religion, there were people who were into science and technology, normal life, social life. But in Africa, the concern, the focus is so much on religion. In fact, people wait on God to do everything for them. God to bathe them, God to feed them, God to do this, God to do that, without realizing that God has already put it on your hands. Example of this, God did not make a wardrobe, a bed made of wood or of metal for Adam and Eve, if we go by the stories in the Bible, the scriptures of the Christian. He put a tree there and he gave them that idea. In fact, what was this idea? Inconvenience, hardship. These were all of the trigger that made man, woman decide on how to make their life comfortable. Mistakes upon mistakes, and eventually human beings can talk of discomfort. And of course, when you look at the medical field, there are a lot that has also been discovered. But in Africa, there is no balance to this. Everyone is focused on religion. And one would ask, where is the balance in all of this? Professor Lumumba said it. The West, through their slave ships, brought in the Christianity. And of course, Islam also was brought into the Africa, the brown skin Africa. It was brought in there, and it is still the same that is being repeated several times. The same Muslims, Islam, they also repeat the same thing. They tend to embrace Islam even more than those who brought it in. They will argue, they will scream, they will shout, and at the end of the day, there is a question that begs for an answer. A lot of people have argued this. The Christians will say no, that Christ came for everybody since his own people refused him. But there is also some group of people in Africa, in the west of Africa, in Nigeria, for example, there are certain tribes laying claims to be from Israel. They say they are descendants And that is also something to discuss maybe one of these days. But on the religion aspect of every of this debate, argument, why is there no balance? If you look at Africa, technology is non-existent. Let us put it that way. That does not mean that we do not have people, young chaps, people who have never been to the university, but people who have been deposited in Africa, and inside of them, they do have the skills and talents inside of them. Let us use the word talent. They have it inside of them. They have been able to manufacture at a very low scale. They've been able to show to the world, show to the people around them. But what have we done to encourage this? Nothing has been done to encourage, to boost technology. We always want to look up to the West. Medical services, the West. Technology, the West. What do we have to export? Religion, they are not even ready for that. They believe that there should be a balance. Imagine if Africa had religion and science and technology balanced up, I'm sure we'll be where we want to be. But unfortunately, it doesn't just seem to be an idea, a movement, or a push, or a consciousness on the minds of many Africans. It is so sad. We have now become a people who only want to say, God will do it. God will make it. In fact, right now, the exploitation that Professor Lumumba pointed out, it is so much in Africa. That does not mean this will not be found in, let's say, the United States of America, but you'll find majorly this exploitation in Africa, where pastors, religious leaders, clerics wield so much power. They tell their members that they drank tea with God. God just spoke to them. God arrived in their room just now. This and that happened now. And this kind of give their members this sense of being beneath, not connected to any consciousness or to God. It is quite unfortunate. In fact, some of them will tell you, before you do this, before you marry, before you do that, everything has to go through and pass through them as the representative of God on earth. It is so sad. So much misinformation, exploitation. Every of this is out there, and many Africans will argue about this. Now, I'm not trying to use this medium to tell you that God does not exist. Neither am I telling you that your faith that you believe in is not right or real. What I'm just trying to tell you is this: to really study, open your minds, the mind that God has given to you, to explore deeper, and try to find a balance. Realize what you should do for yourself and what God can do for you. Do not forget to like and share this video. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.
I say a very big thank you to those who have taken time to subscribe to this channel. And if you're yet to subscribe, kindly tap on that subscription button and also the red bell icon so you will be notified whenever videos such as this are uploaded.